Okay, so today I want to talk about something many doctors never expect to face, but more and more of us do, being unemployed. And I know exactly how scary and uncertain it can feel because before I got into dermatology training, I was unemployed for about a year. And it was a time full of questions about my future, my finances, and whether I'd ever get into my dream specialty. So in this video, I want to share not just practical tips, but the lessons I learned from my own experience, starting with how to handle your finances right now, and then step-by-step strategies to rebuild structure, stay resilient, and make this time work for you. So let's get started. Okay, so the majority of anxiety is money. So how are you going to pay your bills, rent, mortgage, and if you have kids, how are you going to feed and clothe them? So first things first, let's sort your finances. So what I would do, I would check what support you are entitled to when you are unemployed. So visit the BMA website. Do they have any hardship funds? And do they have any useful guides which you can go through? Some Royal Colleges offer benevolent funds too, so it's really worth checking them out. And if you pay for medical defense cover, see if you can reduce or pause payments temporarily when you are unemployed. And definitely do see what unemployment benefits you can get. So that means maybe going to job seekers and seeing what unemployment benefits or universal credits you are entitled to. And review your spending. So make a simple budget for essentials such as rent, food, utilities. Cancel or pause anything non-essential for now, such as streaming subscriptions, memberships that you're not using. And talk to your bank or lenders early if you might be struggling with your payments. You'd be surprised on how flexible they can be if you do explain upfront. Although I'm not a financial advisor, so you would definitely have to check with the bank with what they can offer you. Also consider ways on how you're going to bridge that income back, such as registering for locum shift with NHS staff banks or agencies. Sometimes you can pick up work quickly. And then also, if you want to, you can look at remote options such as medical tutoring, freelance medical writing, or anything which can be outside of medicine. But I'll go into that later in the video. Also, if you paid tax throughout this PAYE tax year and are now unemployed, you may be able to get the money back from HMRC. So definitely do contact HMRC that you are unemployed and maybe you can get that tax amount back. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. If you do need a financial advisor, you can check with the BMA. The BMA can help with financial guidance, and there are charities like Citizens Advice who offer free debt advice too. And it's really important to also ask for friends and family for help and just get that support structure to help you financially in this temporarily unemployment period. Sorting out your money early removes a huge weight off your shoulders so you can focus on what to do next. So the next step is making the full use of your unemployment period. So I know this is going to sound so bizarre, but when you do get unemployed, it's such a radical shift to your day because you're so used to that 9 to 5 or you attending your on-call shift and all of a sudden there's completely nothing. And then you just wake up one day and you're just like, what do I do with my day? And it may be bliss for like 2 weeks or for a month, but then it can get a bit boring and you may lose yourself in that nothingness. So what I would advise, after a 2-week break or a month-long break, rebuild structure in your day. So when you go to work, your clinical work builds in structure, and you feel productive when you do go to your 9 to 5, and without it, you can feel a bit unproductive. And what I would advise is actually create a daily routine and a timetable that balances job seeking, clinical skilling, and also rest. So for example, in the morning, you would be job hunting and applying to all these jobs from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then you can have a lunch break. Then after lunch, you can do CPD points or go to courses or do a virtual diploma to get your CV up to scratch. And then your evening can be going to the gym or self-care. But that timetable is completely up to you. You don't have to make it into a 9 to 5. It can be from 10 till 3 or even shorter than that. And what I did when I was unemployed, because I really wanted to go into dermatology, so I looked at my portfolio points and see the maximum amount of points that I could reach during my unemployment period. So I noted that in my portfolio points, I didn't have a PG diploma. And because I was unemployed in that period, I didn't really have that many time commitments. I didn't have to go to work. I actually had plenty of time to finish that PG diploma, and I got a few extra points for that to help me apply to dermatology specialty training. So definitely look on what options you have there and how you can improve to get your portfolio points and your CV. And during this unemployment period, use this time period to reassess your long-term goals, whether that's applying to training, changing specialties, pursuing academia, or even exploring non-clinical roles. Because in medicine, we are so used to this conveyor belt type of learning and training that whenever we do have a year off, it just feels so bizarre to us. So definitely do use this time period to reassess what you want from life and then make a choice on what specialty you want to go into. I was already dead set on dermatology, but if you were unable to get into your dream specialty after a few number of times, maybe think of pursuing other specialties and then you transfer into your dream specialty. So definitely use that time period to practically make your goals, or if you do have the resources and finances to stay unemployed for a further 6 months or go to a different specialty and then transfer to your desired specialty. And I know so many doctors that have done that. For example, some people who got into dermatology, they did immunology first and then transferred, and other people did GP and then transferred into dermatology or reapplied again to get into dermatology. So do create a roadmap and also just reflect on what you would like to do in terms of your lifestyle and income as well. And then during this unemployment period, locum work can provide flexible income while you are on a job hunt. Some agencies that you can go for is medics or halt doctors, but there are so many doctor agencies that you can apply to get that ad hoc locum work so you can keep your finances up in order. But there are also non-clinical work which you can do during that time period. So I know some people are in digital health or in medical education or research. They are not typically doing a clinical roles. So there are multiple options out there. I think one great website is Medic's Footprints. So definitely do see what they have on offer there, because I know in Medic Footprints they do actually interview doctors who have transferred to a different type of career. So checking out Medic Footprints is a great website to look at. But it's not just locum work which you can do. You can even tutor other medical students or other students such as in A-levels, or you can even coach other doctors to get into a specialty that you are in. For example, if you are an IMT doctor, you can always coach other doctors such as foundation year trainees to get into IMT to help them with their portfolio or interview practice. And that's such a great way to develop income, but also your skills of teaching and mentoring. And if you're thinking, well, where do people find me to have actual interview help or, help with application, actually pay me for this, you can always email me and we can always hop on a call just to see if you are an actual doctor. And you can always join Doctor Specialty Coaching. And Doctor Specialty Coaching is there to help other doctors getting into their desired specialty through interview help and portfolio points, but also for the doctors who volunteer themselves to become mentors, they can also have extra income. So it's a win-win in both situations. Another action which I did when I was unemployed, I arranged taster weeks so I can have that commitment to specialty in my portfolio when I was unemployed, just to show that I was very committed and also had something to talk about in my CV or interview. And going into these taster weeks, I actually had so much time when I was employed during my IMT period. I actually had to give 6 weeks in advance notice, see when that department is available, and try to fit it in with all of this, including with my on-call work. And that was just so difficult for me when I was employed. And during that unemployment period, I just gained so many points on my CV by having that flexibility to build my portfolio. And of course, network, network, network. So reconnect with colleagues, supervisors, or alumni who may be able to give you help with opportunities or references. Attend virtual conferences, webinars, or career events to stay visible and informed. I know someone who is looking for a job and a consultant actually helped them to build connections and took them to conferences to get them introduced to other departments. So definitely do try to network and reach out to whomever you have worked to in the past. And I understand that unemployment is such an uncertain time and it can get stressful. So definitely do focus on mental health and your well-being. So engage in hobbies, mindfulness, or support groups. And there are support groups for unemployed doctors such as LinkedIn or Facebook. And definitely do talk to someone, whether that's with your family members or friends. And honestly, unemployment as a doctor doesn't define your future. Use this time to realign, explore new directions, and invest in growth. You are not alone, and support is available to help you get back on track. And if you're thinking that, am I the only one that's being unemployed? Why am I not getting a job? Am I not good enough? I'm going to tell you now, it's actually getting harder for doctors to get jobs. And if you want to know why, you may want to check out my previous video on why doctors are getting unemployed.